Hi, thanks for joining us on this episode of the Marc Show. On today's show, we're here with Glen Peloso.
How are ya?
Good.
It's good to see you.
So we're going to be talking about some colors, some fabrics, and how to all put it together, right?
That's right. So basically, what you want to do is you want to decide what kind of a space that you want to have. I mean, we're here in the design studio, and it's largely in a gray tone. So let's say, for instance, and that's a fairly good neutral. And because there's so much behind us, we went with a fairly neutral tone. So that.
And I love this backdrop here.
Yeah, it's a great. Well, it's the entire library. So everything that we ever need for any design client, we have tiles and rugs and flooring and fabrics and everything that you could possibly imagine for both commercial and residential spaces.
And you actually pulled a couple fabric swatches for us, right?
So what you want to do is you want to start out with a relatively good neutral and then build from that. So if you decide that your neutral is going to be a gray, for instance, and then if you were going to be trendy, say in this coming year, like here's some.
So is gray still in?
Absolutely. Gray will be in for probably another little while. You'll also see, there's still a bit of a harkening back to some of the browns, not quite so much the beige. The beige is pretty much...
Well, they're saying the brown is coming in. Do you agree?
I would say, just because of your skin tone, I would say yes.
So I'm still in?
Yeah, you're still in. But I don't think that it's coming.
Next year we're not sure.
We're really, it depends on how white you get in Winnipeg. It depends on how, I would say that it's probably not coming back anytime soon. It had a really long stint of maybe 10 or 12 years.
It's almost too long.
It was a little bit long. So I'm imagining that probably the warm grays are going to stay around for a little bit longer.
And I think we're using gray in a different way than it's no longer that cold gray that's on the wall that looks like slate or something like that. They're really warming it up and pairing up with different colors that it used to be.
Right. So if you're looking at a color swatch, for instance, and you see that the color that you're interested in either goes up or down to something that's a blue or a cold color, probably it's not a very good gray. Gray can often be a really difficult color to choose.
That's right.
If you see that it's moving up or down towards a warm color, a brown, or something that has some purple in it, then you start to feel like this is probably going to be a good gray because it's a warm gray as opposed to a cold gray. Gray can kind of go on either side of the color wheel.
So for some of our viewers that aren't designers, what would be the warm colors that they should be looking for?
You're looking for reds, browns, gray as we talk about. You're looking for green can sort of go either direction as well. Blues can go either direction as well, but you want to stay on that side. The things that are cold blues like ice. So if you think of the color of ice and glass, those greens, those cold blues, those are the things that are cold. On the other side, the reds, the oranges, the purples
yellows,
are more,
the sun,
they're more warm colors. So really in choosing the gray, you want to make sure that color palette is part of those warm colors are what's part of the gray that you're talking about.
So now that we picked our neutral color, how do we actually build our color scheme from there?
So then you just basically decide what colors that it is that you respond to. Everybody responds to different color, and there's a whole color psychology. If we were playing, for instance, with trend colors, or even if we just look, here's a good example. Let's look at the front cover of your magazine. that as your blue is a really lovely and very sort of trendy color that's happening right now.
That's right, one of the hottest colors this year.
If you look in sort of some of the more muted, as a really good example of how to find a good trend color right now, look to the garden. So I would say things that have that vegetable tone. So you're looking at a pumpkin, which is not quite that bright orange, but it's sort of a nice warm orange. Squashes, things that have those warm tones to them.
And we actually see that in florals. The hottest trend in florals right now is garden flowers.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like everything follows each other.
It's true. And so what happens is that if you look towards the garden, because we're so thoughtful about the environment right now, all of the things that really appeal to us have that sort of warm, natural garden, vegetable, 100-mile diet. All of those things are appealing to us.
But you know what I find is like the natural colors, or the colors you're pulling from nature aren't the same as they used to be. They're more cultured. So they're not just the ones you see outside in your country or your home city. You're seeing it all around the world, the colors from all around the world.
Right. So the other thing is that, as we've just witnessed, things like social media, Twitter just started, several overthrows of governments. So the social media has a huge power. Now, also because of the internet, my ability to be in, Africa, to be in Egypt, to be in the Middle East, to be in California, to be in Tokyo, all happen really easily. I can look it up in a second. And so
the world is small.
It is. And we're importing products from all over the world. As a result, those influences are coming to us as well. So the color schemes and the influences of many, many cultures are now starting to be part of our home decor in North America.
So what's your favorite color scheme?
favorite color scheme. It's very hard to pick a favorite because.
Well, let's say we're starting at gray. So we're starting gray as a base, or your neutral, and then you're building on. You have a couple of other colors to choose from. What would be your ultimate pick?
So probably, just knowing myself, I'm probably going to pick a red. I'm probably going to pick. I'll play with sort of black, gray, white, and red. Those are the things that seem to appeal to me, and that's mainly because so much of my life is spent working in color and working with people.
Yeah.
That this sort of somewhat neutral palette and the sort of passion of red is just something I've always liked.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that's great. Thanks, Glenn.
A pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Marc H. Hill Show. We'll see you next time for more design and decor tips.